Thank you guys for being here with us for this informational webinar about the Girl Scout project. I know many of you from AHO conferences and Czech and the listserv, but for those of you who I have not yet met, my name is Emily Loeb, and I'm the director of the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh. I'm joined by my colleague, Julia, who is right here next to me, and of course, Lily Sassani, who is the Girl Scout who created the Holocaust Education Patch Program for her Gold Award project. The agenda for today's webinar is as follows. I'm going to provide a little history about how the patch came to be. We're going to go over the curriculum and how Girl Scouts can earn the patch, and then how we plan to partner with Holocaust organizations and centers across the country. And then we're going to open it up for questions. So for those of you who are new to our work at the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh, our mission, like many of yours, is to connect the horrors of the Holocaust and anti-Semitism with injustices of today. And then through education, we seek to address these injustices and empower individuals to build a more civil and humane society. And we do this through a host of community and school-facing programs. And the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh is a program of the Tree of Life. So this patch program is the result of 2.5 years in the making. And in the summer of 2023, my colleague Nick Haberman at the Light Education Initiative passed along an email about a local student who wanted to create a Holocaust education patch program for the Girl Scouts. And so that fall in 2023, we scheduled a meeting with Lily, and that was the beginning of what turned out to be over 2 years of working together as she pursued her Gold Award. And I have a daughter, but she's not a Girl Scout. And I know, like many of you, how busy our kids are in high school and middle school. And working with Lily and seeing her commitment to finishing this project has been nothing short of extraordinary. I know, like many of you, we work with teachers. We don't often get an opportunity to work with students over multiple years. And it's really been a pleasure getting to see her grow up through this process of starting as a freshman all the way through, we're now more than halfway through her senior year. So we've received a lot of inquiries about what went into making this patch. And as you can read in the introduction to the patch program curriculum, it was a labor-intensive and iterative process of creating this curriculum and getting guidance from the Girl Scouts of Western Pennsylvania, and then also consulting scholars and experts and Holocaust survivors as we worked with Lily to mentor her as she created the patch. And so, as I mentioned, Julia is here, she was a Girl Scout herself and then has worked at the Holocaust Center for the last 3+ years, but she also was our student intern for 4 years prior to that. So she's been with the center. She's almost one of our longest staff members now. And then also Lily. And then Lily, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, it's so nice to meet you all. I know Emily's familiar with most of you all, but I'm really happy to get the chance to connect with other centers for this webinar. When I reached out to my light club, I didn't actually realize that we had a Holocaust center locally, so I had discovered them through that, and getting to work with Emily and Julia has been phenomenal. They've been so supportive of me throughout these 2.5 years of working together and building the curriculum and communicating over obstacles and overcoming obstacles with my crazy school schedule. So yeah, I can't be more grateful for the work they've done just to help support me and the connections they've provided me with. And it's really become a project that I think is applicable for so many girls, or not even around in America, but around the world, who want to learn more about Girl Scouts and Girl Guiding and their impact on the world, because they had a really significant impact that I don't think gets talked about a lot. Even when I approached Emily and Julia, they didn't really know their role in World War II. So it makes me really happy to know that I get to empower women's and children's voices in history that haven't been uplifted yet. So yeah, I'll be here for help with any Girl Scout related questions and for explaining parts of the curriculum with Emily and Julia. So thank you.
So with that, I'm going to start our PowerPoint. And so, as I mentioned, this is our webinar for Holocaust centers and organizations. And we've already held two webinars with Girl Scout troop leaders from all over the country. And we've already heard from them that they are aware, many of them are aware of local centers that they have in their communities and are excited to start working on the patch and connecting with their centers. So here are some photos over the years of us working together. You've already met all of us, but the picture in the top right was from our public launch program that we did in December. And the woman pictured with Lily in that top right photo is her mentor from the Girl Scouts. So we were her community mentor, and then that was her Gold Award mentor. So we have a lot of information up on our website about what the curriculum is about. So Girl Scout troop leaders who are interested in earning the patch can go on the website and review the curriculum. And because, like many of you, we often work with school groups who are teaching the Holocaust is as part of their curriculum. And this is a really unique entry point for Holocaust education because we're getting girls and troops who are voluntarily learning this curriculum. So it's a really different curriculum than what you would bring into a school. And one of the first things we had to do was decide what the age groups were. And you would be surprised, we received inquiries from troop leaders asking if their kindergartners could learn about the Holocaust and earn the patch. And we encouraged them that they could wait until their girls are a little bit older. And so this curriculum is designed for Girl Scouts who are at the cadet, senior, and ambassador levels, which is 6th through 12th grades.
And we are able to have non-Girl Scouts complete the program too. Right now we have a class in Florida who is working through it to earn the patch themselves. So it's not necessarily limited to just Girl Scout troops.
Yeah. So the first thing that we ask the troop leaders to do is fill out a participation form to let us know that they're interested in participating in the program. And that will also give insight as to where they're located in the country. So, for example, someone in Michigan reached out to us and they're located about an hour outside of Detroit. So we were able to say, there's an incredible Holocaust museum in Detroit that you can go and visit. So we ask for them to fill out the participation form just so we have an idea of who's interested in pursuing it versus who ends up completing it as well. One of the things that we recognize is that because these are troop leaders and not educators, they aren't necessarily coming with a lot of knowledge or understanding about what the Holocaust is themselves. And so we encourage them, there's a whole pre-prep section for them in the curriculum to get information about the Holocaust for themselves before they start teaching it to the girls. And we worked with a troop here in Pittsburgh who the troop leader, was not a teacher, was not a Holocaust scholar or anything. And she said she was able to review the curriculum that we set up and felt prepared to work with the girls. And again, because this is an opt-in curriculum and is not part of a school curriculum, we have created a permission slip for the Girl Scout troop leaders to give to parents. And this also provides an opt-out for girls so that they can, if they feel they need to stop the program and come back to it, they can. It's something that's voluntary. And so as a way for troop leaders, the Girl Scouts, and centers to kind of recognize that this isn't that this is voluntary, we developed this permission slip. So now the curriculum. One of the things that's kind of fascinating about the Girl Scout curriculum is it's really different than what we would do in a classroom. So it's made up of 3 parts: discover, connect, and take action. And so we're going to walk you through very briefly what these 3 pieces of the curriculum are and how the Girl Scouts will complete it, and then how that also connects to your local centers. So, Lily, do you want to talk about the discover portion?
Sure. So, like Emily said, basically every patch project in Girl Scouts comprises of three like phases: the discover, which is kind of the introductory phase where you're going to learn the material; connect, where you're going to facilitate discussions and like further your understanding by discussing it with other people and by like talking about it with yourself; and then take action, where you do work with your community that shows that you've learned something and that contributes to the work that you've done. So, Discover, we have three different videos provided, and the only mandatory one for Girl Scouts to watch is the one that I filmed with the curriculum we wrote, which is the Holocaust Education Patch curriculum video. We have that, and then we also have the transcript if troop leaders would rather have it be read. But that one's the only mandatory one. However, it is highly encouraged to watch the other two because they come from a primary source, which is a Holocaust survivor and her daughter, who's a generation speaker at the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh, Edith Luchter and Debbie Luchter Stuber. And Edith is a Holocaust survivor from France who wasn't associated with any specific Girl Scout resistance groups, but she was a Girl Scout while she was living in the Holocaust as a young girl. So it touches up on her experiences as that. It touches up on her experiences as a survivor of the Holocaust and her life when she finally moved to America to be with her father. And as for the other one, it's an interview with an author of a book called How the Girl Guides Won the War, which is also, I believe, we have a really big, long list of books we recommend for troop leaders and Girl Scouts if they want to read as additional information. And her book is one of them because it's one of the books that inspired me to do this project because it's where I got a lot of my initial information. It touches up on like girl guiding and Girl Scouts. Well, not Girl Scouts. It does. She doesn't talk about Girl Scouts in America, but she discusses like Girl Guides in China and she talks about in Britain because that's where she's from. She touches up on it in Europe, in Poland, in Germany, all sorts of different experiences of Girl Guides and what they were doing to resist the Holocaust and to survive the Holocaust. So we had the opportunity to interview her, and it's a very good interview. She touches up on like a lot of her inspiration for writing the book and also her experiences with the subject and like the people, the survivors she's met, the stories she's learned, how that's impacted her life. She's a very unique and important woman, and I'm really happy we got the opportunity to meet her, both her and Edith and her daughter Debbie. So while those two are optional, the pilot project I did with the pilot troop, that troop leader was especially passionate about watching all the videos. I don't remember off the top of my head what like the length of all three videos together would be, although it doesn't have to be done in one sitting. If I had to guess, it would probably be like maybe an hour and a half. Perhaps you think so, Emily, around that time?
Maybe. And I think, well, I know your video is 35 minutes and the Janie's was maybe 45 and Edith's is about 45.
Nailed
Yeah.
it. An hour.
Yeah. Julia, do you want to speak quickly about the background videos? So because we know that there are Girl Scouts that may be coming into this curriculum that don't have never studied the Holocaust before, we felt it was important to also provide a little bit of background about what the Holocaust is.
Yes, so embedded in Lily's curriculum video at the very beginning is a video from the BBC that's about 3 minutes long. It's an animated video just giving an overview and an introduction to the Holocaust. So if there's any scouts that haven't learned about it in school, it gives a little bit of a foundation. And it's been vetted, it's age appropriate for the recommended ages for the patch. We've had educators look at it to assure that it's appropriate. And that isn't included in the video transcript, so that should be viewed even if people are using the transcript.
Yeah. And after watching the videos, they will do a video reflection. So that's sort of the summary of that first piece of the Discover curriculum. And as Lily mentioned, here's a screenshot of Janie Hampton speaking. And like she said, both videos, the two extra videos with Edith and Janie are optional but encouraged. So the connect piece is really where we start to talk about working with all of you. After the Girl Scouts complete the Discover activities, they will connect what they've learned with their own experiences as being Girl Scouts. And there's different requirements depending upon the ages of the girls. Lily, do you want to really quickly just explain the cadet, senior, and ambassador requirements?
Yeah, so if you're unaware of the ranks and the ages in Girl Scouts, cadets would be like sixth through, I want to say sixth through 10th. It's like sixth grade through 12th is where all three of them lie. Ambassadors would be like upperclassmen in high school. Seniors would be like freshmen and sophomores in high school. And then cadets would be like any of the ages within middle school. So, and we did like discuss like what ages would be appropriate to have do the project with other Holocaust educators. And we think it's a good range just because that's typically when you start, at least in my district, you start learning about the Holocaust in middle school. So it can expand on that learning and kind of elaborate on things that they might not be able to learn about in class. So, yeah.
So the requirements are that cadets do a card activity, and then the seniors and ambassadors who are in high school do a card activity and one other activity. And Julia, do you want to explain the card instructions?
Sure. So on the video reflection worksheet, one of the questions is sort of preliminary for this. It asks girls to choose a story that stuck out to them from the curriculum video, and then identify aspects of the Girl Scout law and qualities from the Girl Scout law that they showed in their actions, which there is a slide, the next slide, or the slide after this, that lists those qualities. And if you look up the Girl Scout law, you can find them there. So this card activity expands on that and asks girls to consider the story they chose and select one of those values they listed, and write a short reflection connecting the story to the value and how they showed that in their actions. And then girls should share their reflections aloud and also reflect on how they can embody that and work to embody the code that they chose. Um, yeah, so on the next slide, these are examples from the pilot troop on their cards. So one of them, they chose courage as their quality, and wrote that Girl Guides assisted people to air raid shelters during blackouts. They did this wearing gas masks and putting themselves in danger. They easily could have saved themselves, but instead they saved others. So they made the connection between their actions and the quality from the Girl Scout law, and then they can further reflect on how they can show courage today. And these are resources linked in the curriculum. Troops can either print out the cards or just do it on regular paper. And then there's some recaps pages of the stories from the curriculum if they want to reference them.
So additional activities, this is really where local centers come in. We have a whole host of suggestions, but these are not exhaustive, right? So they could visit a local Holocaust museum or memorial or go on a tour. They could watch a survivor testimony. They could have a generation speaker either from our center doing it Zoom, or if you are located in a troops area and you have your own speaker series or bureau, they could connect with you. We also have books and movies that they could suggest, that they could access and read as well.
And we have gotten a lot of interest, in our last webinar, people that want to go on a physical tour to a center or a museum. So, and people have been talking about the organizations in their area already.
So when on our last webinar, someone was like, I'm in Albuquerque and I'm reaching out to the Holocaust Center in Albuquerque already. So that is really exciting for us because we are excited to help connect, local troops to their centers as well. So the final piece of the curriculum is taking all of what they've learned and Discover and Connect and then turning that into action. And Lily, you want to talk some about the activities that we outline that they could do?
Yeah, of course. So to get maximum amount of like work being done between troops, we decided to divide and conquer, I guess you could say, between three different categories of projects you could do. We have a remembrance category, a volunteering category, and an education category. So for remembrance, it would really just be like creating things in memory of the victims, or building things or planting things in memory of survivors. So we have like the Clover Project, which was coined by this project where you create clover buttons for, well, the troop would create clover buttons for themselves and other Girl Scouts in their area, and that's relating to the curriculum. Whereas Girl Guides in Ravensbrook would find clovers and put them in the inside of their prison uniforms to be able to acknowledge other Girl Guides in passing and be able to figure out who else was a Girl Guide and be able to plan their meetings. So that relates to the curriculum. There's You could plant flowers inspired by the Holocaust survivor Margot Silberman Randall's Memorial Garden. You could plant other flowers in memory if that's not a local thing. They can participate in the Holocaust Center Pittsburgh's Crocus Project. There's different things you can do for remembrance. For volunteering specifically, that's where they would be going and connecting with centers in a way that shows more support rather than just coming and like connecting with them in the other phase. Or if not the center, then another option is to collect food items for refugees or other individuals in need, whether it's the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank or other refugee services, or they could just collect and volunteer for an organization that helps women and or children. And then the last category is education, which would be another thing where they create something in memory, but also having like an educational aspect to it. So that could be creating a comic book inspired by the Holocaust Center Pittsburgh's comic book Chutzpah, which it paints Holocaust survivors who ended up moving to Pittsburgh and their stories in a very heroic light, and educates others about their stories. So they could create something like that to educate others about specific Girl Guides they learned about in the curriculum. They could organize for a generation speaker or a survivor to come to their area or their school to speak, or any other local gathering place. Or they could create an educational display in their school, community center, or anywhere else where people will be able to see it to educate others about the Girl Guides and the Girl Scouts during World War II. So there's a lot of different activities. We tried to make it as accessible as possible for different troops in America and both across the world to be able to collaborate with centers, but also be able to have the freedom to go off and like do what the kids in the troop think they would want to do best. So that's what we have. But it really does encourage collaboration. So I hope you get a lot of engagement with different troops in your communities.
Yeah. And we have a supplemental page on our website for troops to find centers in their area. So we've linked the AHO search where you can go in and look for Holocaust centers in your state or your city. We also connected the Mark Schoenwetter Foundation, where you can also search for activities and resources and centers. And then you can see there's a whole bunch of other information that we have available. And if there's anything that you have specific that to your community, or that you've got an initiative that can be done outside of your community but could support this and speak to the values that the Girl Scout patch program is trying to lift up, we'd be happy to put that up on our website as well. And then finishing the program, once troops have finished it, they will submit a patch request form. And on that request form, it actually says, we ask if they worked with a local Holocaust center. So we'll have a sense of, whether people are getting to you as well. And then the way the Girl Scouts work is that you can't make money off the patches, which is just fine with us. So like it's $1 per patch basically covers our cost and shipping. And so we just ordered like another couple thousand patches because of inquiries that we've received. And so then we ask that if you're sharing photos, that not only tagging yourself, but tagging the Girl Scout Holocaust education and us along with it, so we can all promote the work together. And finally, this is where you currently find it on our website. And it's pretty clear it's one of our community programs as opposed to teacher or school programs. So with that, that was our presentation, and we will open it up for questions and conversation. So feel free. Someone just asked in the chat, is there a plan to reach out to Whitwell Children's Holocaust Museum? Middle school students are docent. Where is Whitwell? Sherry?
Hi, Whitwell is in outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's the only children's Holocaust museum in the United States. It
Cool.
is the location where Operation Paperclip started 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just visited, I work with Holocaust education and actually with someone who's in Georgia, and we are looking to work with Tennessee Holocaust teacher education. We went to Whitwell and have never seen such an amazing collection of material as that museum has. The
Okay.
students are the docents, so I think it's a very synergistic relationship to have because the middle school children are already in it there.
That's wonderful.
And you could have a kind of project going around. I will grab your email and I'll send you the principal's email address and make an introduction because he is amazing. This school itself is just an unbelievable place to go visit in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. Someone asked if you could grab a patch.
Mhm.
Okay. I think there's someone that had their hand raised. Suzanne.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
I have a quick question on, do you guys provide collateral if you wanted to start reaching out to local troops and you wanted to drop off a flyer, letting them know this exists, and you wanted to maybe have like, the instructions to getting to you guys and then showing that we are like a partner resource. Do you
Yeah.
offer that?
We can. This is our first webinar that we've done with the with centers. So I see this also as a real iterative process. I mean, it's funny. I know that I've heard from other center directors, people are like, oh, we've been thinking about doing this for a long time. And I also know from the last AHO conference that people were telling me that they've received calls about inquiries of how this can be done. And I've explained that as a Holocaust center, I don't think if the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh had just created this patch, it would have been like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, what's really created the buzz and excitement about this is Lily, right? And I mean, Lily just received like a lifetime award from BBYO where she spoke in front of like 5,000 people in the conference in Philly. This has been a really amazing thing. I don't want to speak for you, Lily, but I think it's been a really amazing thing for you. And I think the reason that this is getting so much attention is not because we are all Holocaust centers, but because of Lily and what she has worked to accomplish.
Thank you, Emily. Yeah. I mean, I try to pertain it to not just like anyone. Well, obviously anyone who's interested in it, but also like specifically like kids too, because that's the age range for Girl Scouts is like middle school and high school. So getting that like connection with the younger kids, I think especially makes it impactful because they're like the next generation. And also, I'm a kid too, so that probably plays a part in it. Me doing this kind of big project while being in school probably has an impact. But, like, yeah, I mean, we have all sorts of information on it online. We've been reposted by like a whole bunch of different Facebook pages specifically for women's work and children's work. So it's really amazing to see how far it's gone. And I think it's sustainable too, because like with those kindergarten troops, they'll still do the project, just not yet. So we still have like it planned to be happening in the future. So yeah, I think flyers would be a cool idea to consider in the future. I really like that idea. If it's okay for me to move on to another question, there's one I would really like to answer from Karen Kruger about the physical patch and how it was designed and the woman on the patch. I designed the patch with the guidance of the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh, more specifically the illustrator and an illustrator of Chutzpah, Marcel Walker, when he was still associated with the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh. But I designed it. Well, I sketched it out first with them. I showed them it in person. We had a whole bunch of different concepts for what the patch would look like, but we landed on this one because we thought it was especially impactful. Oh, she has it.
Yeah.
Emily has it. Oh, yay. Yeah. I designed it on paper, then we moved it to digital art because as well as I have an interest in history, but I also like to do digital and traditional art on the side. So I used my art experience to design the patch myself with their guidance. And as for the woman on the patch, we went through a concept where we wanted to make three different designs of that patch with women with different features on it, but we ended up just going with that one design just because it would be more not just more convenient but more simplified, but also like it can be interpretable. Like anyone who gets the patch could interpret it as a girl who is symbolic of the Girl Guide experience, but also she does have semblance to one of the founders of a Girl Guide troop in Ravensbrook, the Walls, Josefa Cantor. So if you want to say it's one of those founders, especially because she's got the clover on, which is what they did to recognize other guides, you could say that. It's overall just meant to be symbolic of like resistance and survival, and like the women and children who resisted the Holocaust. Hence the brick wall in the background. I had a lot of fun of like channeling. I could talk about it for forever, but I won't because I don't want to take too much time. But yeah,
Do you want to explain the hat?
oh, the hat. Janie, if you watch Janie Hampton's video, that's actually the hat she wears because it's a woven hat that Girl Guides would have made and worn at that time. Oh, thank you, Karen. I just saw her comment. Thank you so much. But yeah, there's so many different elements in this patch that we tried to have reflected in the curriculum or the curriculum reflected in it. So thank you so much.
We
Thank you,
learned
Laura.
a lot about Girl Scout copyright law. That was something we were not anticipating,
We
but
did, yeah. Girl Scouts are very strict about that. Like, I can't have like the image of a trefoil, which is essentially a clover. So we had to be very like specific in like the submission. Like, this is not a trefoil.
Mhm.
It's just a clover. Please don't strike us with the copyright hammer. But yeah, a lot of
and
elements went into it.
and we had to use particular patch companies like the print companies and stuff. So it's a lot.
Long process.
Yeah, it was a 10-month process from when Lily first submitted the first design to when we got it approved by the Girl Scouts. Um, Anyone who has a question, just please jump in
I
there. Oh,
see there's a question. I'm sorry. I feel like is it Maya? I hope I didn't butcher that first name. But she asked if there's a recommended way for Holocaust organizations to connect with local troops in case it might be difficult to access contact information. I'm sure there's different Girl Scout like regions. I'm in Girl Scouts of Western Pennsylvania, but I'm sure if you go online and search, there's like different regions of Girl Scouts specific to where you're located. So I'm sure if you reached out to directors associated with those programs per the region, they'd be able to help you find troops in your area. That's one way I know. I mean, the flyers might help too.
the
That's
other
one.
thing is one of the questions that, we want to know where people are is so we can help guide them to their local centers. And that was one of the main reasons that we added that AHO search and the Mark Schoenwetter search, because as we all know, that's like the main way that I know to find centers. You can't really find them on USHMM's website. So most people don't know that unless you're deep in AHO world. And so I think that will be really helpful. But we are also able to drive people to, like I said, drive them electronically to their local centers, and it's a small enough community that we know each other to some degree. So if someone from Buffalo contacts me, I'm texting Lauren. So
Yeah, and I'm thinking, this is an ongoing process of figuring out the best ways to do these things, but the form that we ask troop leaders to fill out when they're intending to do the patch, we can ask if they'd like to be connected and, share their contact information with any centers if they want us to do that.
yeah. Are there any other
I see
questions?
there's one question. I'm not sure if it's Anna or Anna, but she mentions that they're going to promote it at the Girl Scouts of South Carolina, I think, Mountains to Midlands. That's so awesome. I've never heard of that project before, so I'm gonna look that up. That's super cool. It's so cool for me to learn about different centers located in different areas too. I mean, prior to this project, my knowledge was very limited about like the interconnectedness of all the centers until Emily told me about how everyone kind of knows everyone. So I think that's really cool. But yeah, I don't know. Did you answer the question about the best email for regarding inquiries?
Yeah, you can email me. I'll put it in the chat. But you guys probably have that via the AHO listserv if you're here.
Oh, Adara just put a comment that they're going to be working with Girl Scouts and she's a troop mom. That's awesome. My mom's my troop leader, so she's been especially persistent in getting me to pursue this project. She's been very supportive too. So I'm really happy for her support and for everyone else's support. Everyone's so nice in the comments. Oh my gosh. And Emily and Julia, it's been a great experience. But yeah, New Jersey, South Carolina, like
Beth,
council in upstate South Carolina. That's awesome.
Beth from Voices.
Um, do you have plans to expand this to Boy Scouts also?
Well, the patch can be earned by anyone as well as people outside of the Girl Scouts organization. So Boy Scouts can earn it. We haven't been gearing it specifically to Boy Scouts yet, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's common knowledge that people outside of Boy Scouts can earn it. But if it's not, like we can work with that. But I think we get a Boy Scout troop to inquire?
We have a Boy Scout troop who's inquired, and actually the person in charge of the Gold Award projects at Girl Scouts here, she's also a Boy Scout, or I think they're now like a Scout troop leader. Um, it's kind of funny because in the interview with Janie, she talks about how initially there was an effort amongst Boy Scouts in Europe to be part of the resistance efforts, but they weren't as easily able to be organized, and so the Girl Guides took it over, which was kind of a interesting
That
moment.
was, yeah, in World War One in particular, they trusted Girl Scouts a little bit more, as Jamie likes to say. The Boy Scouts gossip too much, but there was definitely a lot of information about Boy Scouts helping during World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can't speak necessarily to Scouting USA, their sort of regulations. Anyone can work on this program and earn the patch, but in terms of it being an official patch of Scouting USA, it's not. So we don't know if there'd be any issues with like having the patch itself on any official or anything, but it's definitely available.
And one of the things when we were starting this conversation with the Girl Scouts, so as this was Lily's Gold Award project, if anyone's worked with Girl Scouts before, Lily was the driver for it and we were her mentoring organization. But part of that was creating a sustainability plan. And so it was always developed with this in partnership and not a Girl Scout, like the Girl Scouts don't own the patch, and they really encouraged us to do that so that the curriculum was created by, Lily and the centers as opposed to from the Girl Scouts, like a top down. So I don't know about the Scouting USA and how their patches work. Yes, other countries can earn the patch, and that is like really that's super exciting. We've received inquiries from people in Israel, Australia, England. So it can absolutely, and we've confirmed that like it can be earned anywhere, from anywhere. And so that is really neat for people if you do have any work with your local centers and partners in Europe. That's kind of an exciting thought and opportunity as well.
They could be like pen pals. Yeah, no, we have a lot of people from all over the place reaching out and inquiring. It's really great. I'm super happy to see like the reception we've gotten from the project.
There, please just chime in if you have any questions or if you have ideas or I love so and we'll follow up with an email regarding flyers. I think the flyers is a great idea. So thank you, Suzanne, for that. Um, is there anything else?
I just have to say, I just love this project so much. Um, I have been in Holocaust education for over 3.5 decades, and I have never heard of anything like this or been exposed to it. And it's absolutely phenomenal. It really is. I'm so impressed with all of you. And I thank you so much for having this seminar and introducing us to this amazing way to teach the Holocaust and to reach young people that we might otherwise have not been able to reach. So thank you so much. And it highlights women and girls, which of course is always a great thing. So
Thank
thank you.
you
Thank
so
you.
much, Beth. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I was gonna say something, but then my brain just totally like out on me. But thank you so much.
Yeah,
Remember it. I'll let Emily talk. Let me remember it.
Lily,
Wait,
right?
is
Yeah.
there a way that we can get some of these the slides, the cards in a that you can mail it to those of us who are on this webinar, or do you want us to reach out to you personally? I think we've learned a lot, but we also have to show this locally so
Yeah.
that they will understand some of the ramifications and if instead of all of us doing our own thing, is it okay to utilize your work and can you send us it?
Absolutely. So it's the curriculum is downloadable on our website. You can go on that. There's like the Earn the Patch, and then you'll see there's a PDF downloadable file that they can, it's about 18 pages or something. And if you're on it on a PDF, there's embedded links. But if you wanted to look through it, and Lily designed the whole thing in Canva, it was a like what was the length of the curriculum development? That was almost 2 years. And but yeah, it's downloadable, and so you should be able to access it. And you can see the curriculum, the 35-minute video where it really gives the history and like the for them to learn about the topic. Um, we found that kind of 3-minute BBC overview, but then the bulk of it is the girls really learning about what the Girl Guides did during the war. And that's the piece that, we maybe had some idea of like Girl Guides doing some things in the war. Like one of our local generation speakers, her mom, like Lily said, was a Girl Scout in France during the war when she was being hidden by the OSC, but I did not realize the depth and level of activities that they were doing, and that's what Lily goes into in depth in that video. And so that's really where the troops will learn that history. We know it's not exhaustive, right? Like we're all Holocaust educators. You're going to watch that and be like, oh, you didn't talk about this, this, this. That's not what this is about. This is about learning, one piece of the Holocaust to help these girls connect to this topic in a deep and meaningful way that they maybe wouldn't have before. And then with all these other resources and connection opportunities, they can dive deeper if they want and learn about other things. So other parts of the Holocaust. So really see this as like an entry point. And, for Pennsylvania, we don't have mandated Holocaust curriculum. So unlike Florida, where they get a whole week in November to teach about the Holocaust, we don't necessarily have that. We have some students who go through their entire schooling and maybe read one book or if at all. And like Lily, who lives in a more rural community, she's as far as right, the only Jewish girl in your school. And so this is a really exciting opportunity to reach a whole different group of kids that we wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah, and I will say, in addition to the introduction video, Lily found it very important to talk about some of the misconceptions people might have about the Holocaust. And she does a very good job in the video of sort of briefly going over some of those misconceptions. So it is a really good entry point, digestible piece that, as people connect with the various centers and learn more about the Holocaust itself, it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
And we will send a follow-up email with links to everything and resources.
Thank you.
Thanks. And you guys are happy, please reach out to us if you have any questions. And I think, if you have a specific question for Lily, we can pass it on as well. I think it's been really special for us to be able to work with a student and to have a younger voice driving sort of the framework of this curriculum, because I wouldn't have dreamed of it this way because I wasn't a Girl Scout. And now I will tell you that that framework is starting to drive how we think about a lot of our programming and curriculum. We're like, what's the connect, discover, take action? It's like actually very intuitive, right? That you're like teaching something, you're emotionally connecting to it, and then you're taking that and turning it into something good to try to help the world become a better place. And in some ways, that's like the best summary of all the work that we all do.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that because I think with these kind of projects, and I've done a lot of like patches that aren't about such a serious subjects, but with things like these, I think it really like teaches you the material in a deeper sense that you might in a school setting. Whereas in a school setting, a lot of people I know try to like memorize it rather than potentially learn it. So in this format, it's more of a way to you not just discuss this, but also connect with people who are like primary sources, connect with like centers, connect with all sorts of different people, and to like create something yourself or to do something with your group that kind of exemplifies like what the scouts at the time were doing, you know what I mean, to help kind of embody it. So I'm really happy that it's like formatted this way. So I hope that helps inspire you guys too.
Yeah, and the Girl Scouts of Southwest or of Western PA, played a large part in this, and that it was Lily's Gold Award project, and they have very specific requirements, and they're looking at this and they're approving this, and they work with Girl Scouts all the time and develop their own badges and patch programs. So it was really developed from that angle as well.
Yeah. Well, with that, it's just about noon. So, unless there are any more questions, we can end. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. But thank you so
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry, Beth, I never did actually remember what I was going to say, but I think you did comment on. I was thinking really hard too. I was like, oh my gosh. I had a really good response. And then I came in and it was like gone. So sorry about that.
Feel free to email me anytime.
Thanks.
Well, Lily's hard at work her senior year, so it's hard
Oh,
to.
yeah. Oh, they're putting me to work.
Okay. Well, take care, everyone.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you so
Bye.
much. Goodbye.